late 90s and early 2000s, Paul Pressler, the chairman of Walt Disney Parks and Resorts, had instituted drastic cost-cutting measures, slashing budgets across the board to increase profits. At the same time, Pressler, whose background was in retail, dramatically increased the amount of shopping and merchandise carts throughout the parks. FastPass was a quick fix in many ways. Not only did the system promise to get guests out of line and into gift shops, but FastPass itself could be marketed far and wide as if it were a new attraction, during a time when Disney didn't have anything else to promote. For a period of time in the mid-2000s, FastPass was used as a perk for vacation packages, mainly ones booked through AAA, which allowed guests access to what was referred to as Enhanced FastPass, which removed the 2-hour limit on guest tickets, allowing them to obtain as many FastPasses as available, with the only restriction being that they could not receive multiple passes for the same attraction until the first pass for that attraction had expired. With this, guests could enter Disneyland Park in the morning, obtain a FastPass for every FastPass attraction in the park, exit Disneyland Park, walk over to California Adventure, obtain a FastPass for every FastPass attraction at that park, and now, holding 16 FastPasses, have the best day ever, with the only downside being that they now have to experience 7 attractions at a mid-2000s California Adventure. The over-implementation of FastPass did exactly what Stafford had predicted, and walkways at the parks were more congested than ever. This was especially noticeable at Disneyland, which is a much smaller park in comparison to the Magic Kingdom. The park was designed to have people wait in line, but now, with most attractions using FastPass, guests found themselves waiting through a sea of people, all waiting for their return time to arrive. Also, standby waits for high-capacity attractions, such as Pirates of the Caribbean and Haunted Mansion, were noticeably increased with FastPass. In 2002, Paul Pressler resigned to leave for the Gap, where he would also serve as CEO. He was replaced by the chairman of Disneyland Paris, Jay Rasulo. When Rasulo and other management
what do gills look like?
Evaluated Disneyland's FastPass system, determining that the best solution
I guess they didn't know.
FastPasses from certain attractions. At Disneyland,
hey, what do gills look like to you?
And Star Tours had its FastPass kiosk removed, and Haunted Mansion's FastPass would only be utilized.
Oh, they always look so beautiful. It's like pretty red.
Adventure, It's Tough to Be a Bug and Muppet Vision had their FastPasses removed as well. Eventually, the Haunted Mansion
it's like a little slit.
had its FastPass removed. While FastPass worked well on some rides and did increase customer satisfaction significantly, the over-implementation within the first few years of its debut seemed to be clear proof that it was a bad idea to put FastPass everywhere. It is now September of 2007. It has been 2 years since Bob Iger became the CEO of Disney after an embattled Michael Eisner resigned. FastPass has just turned 8 years old, and Jay Rasulo is still heading the Parks division. It has also been recently announced that Disney has patented technology that would utilize a centralized computer system to manage FastPass tickets throughout Walt Disney World and Disneyland, allowing guests to obtain FastPasses from their mobile devices, which at the time looked like this.
I didn't see that earlier, sorry.
Relied on sending text messages to guests. The patent application also stated that the new system could allow, quote, spending per guest at hotels to determine hierarchies of access to FastPass. Disney stated, sorry,
I'm listening to the thing I'm watching.
Change FastPass at the moment, merely that they were monitoring how to take advantage of technological. However, within the company, executives were formulating plans for a massive project in complete secrecy. In 2007, Jay Rasulo and 4 other senior Disney Parks officials formed an exploratory committee to determine how the ongoing technological revolution could reinvent the guest experience. Like Walt Disney and Imagineers in the 1960s,
I'm gonna give her
like
big
Bruce
eyes,
in the 1990s,
because she is like a fish.
Discussions once again centered on how to improve crowd control and wait times. The group was exploring multiple concepts when one member had an epiphany. While on a flight, VP of Business Development John Patchett was browsing through the in-flight magazine Skymall when he came across a magnetic wristband that promised to improve balance and reduce joint pain. This was, of course, a scam, but it gave Patchett an idea. What if Disney park guests had their own wristband that contained technology that they could use around the park? It would be like a magic wristband.
I think I want to round it. She needs round eyes because I'm trying to make her look fish-like.
The team opened a testing space for X-Band in the abandoned Body Wars attraction in the
I don't know what to do for the nose, though.
After an ideation phase, Disney CEO Bob Iger was given a tour where the team explained their idea for the X-Band. Their proposal was to house an RFID tag inside the band that would allow guests to interact with touch points throughout the park. The X-Band could act as guest park tickets or their hotel room keys. They could even use it as a credit card. When Iger was shown the technology, he was impressed enough to give the project a proper budget. In 2008, development officially began on Disney Next Gen Experience, an initiative that promised to bring the guest experience into the modern age. This encompassed multiple strategies, ranging from reinventing the way guests order food at the parks to experimenting with different queue types to increase guest enjoyment while in line. Perhaps the most ambitious part of Next Gen was MyMagic+, a complete overhaul of Walt Disney World's technological infrastructure and the introduction of a new website and mobile application.
Ever wish you could get the magic of the parks right at your fingertips?
Not really, no. I've never been to Disneyland.
This is not MyMagic+. I don't know what this is.
Introducing Mobile Magic, a magical app that will turn your Verizon mobile phone into...
Exclusive to Verizon.
It's super easy to use. Just touch characters. Look, make it,
Oh gosh, I forgot about this. Okay, so real quick.
Something about this is really ugly now.
Verizon partnered on a new mobile app named Mobile Magic that allowed guests to see a map of the park, view show times, and play trivia for $9.99 every 180 days. Jeez. And you had to send a text message to download the app? Most impressive, the app allowed users to view wait times and FastPass return times from their phone, with real-time information from the park's computer system. They could not book or view their FastPasses from the app, but this was still a powerful tool for the time, and it had a valuable feature. Guests could now balk at an attraction's wait time from the other side of the park. Understanding the power the app had over guest decisions, Disney began to inflate posted wait times to point guests in certain directions. For instance, if there were too many people in Tomorrowland, Space Mountain's posted wait time might be adjusted to 90 minutes, despite the actual wait only being 60, in order to dissuade guests from visiting the crowded area of the park. This also served the additional function of improving guest satisfaction, as actual waits were almost always shorter than posted waits, and it gave ride operators a buffer in the event of delays or downtime. It is unclear when this strategy began, but it would become an integral part of MyMagic Plus's crowd control features when the new app launched. In November of 2009, 2 years into the development of Next Gen Experience, it was announced that Jay Rasulo would become the CFO of the Walt Disney Company, switching places with then CFO Tom Staggs, who would be taking Rasulo's position as the head of the Disney parks.
I don't have any
This
racer.
was Iger's decision, and it was done to see which executive adjusted better to their new role. This was a way to help Iger determine his successor, as he planned to retire from the company in 2015. Staggs was inheriting the Next Gen program and MyMagic+, and the pressure was immediately on for him to deliver on the team's plans, which had only become more ambitious. Not only did the Next Gen team want to reinvent park tickets and hotel keys, they wanted to completely overhaul FastPass as well. The new system would be titled XPass, and it was a key feature of Next Gen's Guaranteed Experience initiative. The philosophy behind guaranteed experiences was to increase customer satisfaction and guest retention at the resort by removing unwanted variability in vacations.
I was gonna draw her curly hair like the model I'm using, but I think silk hair makes her look more mermaidy.
Guests would now be able to book multiple fast passes before they arrived at the park, and rather than using paper tickets, they would use their X-bands to enter the expedited queue. In late 2011, news broke on XPass, mainly focusing on
shit, I lost my thing.
would cost money. People took that great, but despite the uproar, the rumor turned out to not be true, at least not entirely. FastPass would still be available to everyone, but priority access would be given to those staying at a Walt Disney World Resort hotel. The plan was for guests to be able to book between 2 and 4 FastPasses before they arrived. The specific number would be different for each park and would vary based on attendance. On the busiest days at Magic Kingdom,
Not right now.
guests would only be allowed to book 3 FastPasses, but on most days, they would be able to book 4. However, at Epcot, which had significantly less attractions, guests would only get to book 2 fast passes on busy days, while most days they would get to book 3. The times for the reservations would be determined by guest preferences. Guests would input which attractions they wanted to ride, and an itinerary would be created with fast passes to optimize guest flow throughout the park. When paired with the rest of the next-gen technology, this had the potential to radically redesign crowd control. There was just one problem. Actually, there were 1,000 problems, but this was one of them. XPass sought to offer multiple fast passes to the majority of guests before their arrival. The problem was there were not enough fast passes available at the resort's fast pass attractions to do this. In the original fast pass system, popular attractions would run out of fast passes for the day by noon or even before, and that was when people could only obtain one fast pass every 2 hours. Since fast pass already took up the majority of a ride's capacity, and most rides at Walt Disney World were Already operating at maximum capacity, it was not feasible to simply give out more fast passes for these rides. When the industrial engineers ran the models for X-Pass, it was apparent that there was not enough fast pass availability at the parks.
Technically, I'm just drawing her up right now.
The engineers quickly realized that in order
I guess no, because she doesn't have a backstory. I'm just drawing her right now.
They would need to add fast pass to nearly every attraction at the resort. The total number of fast pass attractions at Walt Disney World would increase from 28 to 50. When the industrial engineers put the increased fast pass availability into the model, it still didn't work. Even with an additional 22 attractions, there were still numerous days throughout the year where fast pass availability would be gone before a significant amount of guests could book all of their passes. To solve this, it was suggested that fast pass be added not just to every attraction, but also to things that were not typically considered attractions, such as meet and greets with characters. Apparently, this still wasn't enough. So it was suggested that guests could obtain fast passes to things that don't even have lines, such as fireworks shows or parades. Rather than skipping a line, special viewing areas would be created for these experiences, and guests would book a fast pass to gain access to them. Finally, this increased, or more accurately, inflated the amount of fast passes that could be offered, which
I don't know what that
helped
means.
the idea to offer multiple fast passes to guests before they arrived. With the basic framework figured out, plans moved forward on X-Pass as Next Gen and My Magic Plus continued to develop. In February of 2011, the Walt Disney Company's board of directors
a round face,
My Magic
yeah.
Plus with a budget of
I was wondering why she looked weird with a
$1
strong
billion.
chin. No.
Iger reportedly
She's a
sternly
fish. A
told
round face would do
Stags,
better.
quote, "This better work," which became a mantra for the entire team. Stags was under enormous pressure to deliver on a project that didn't really make the parks or Disney money.
Now, when I put this in, does money immediately begin flowing out of my checking account?
If it's working correctly, yes.
Yeah.
In a shocking twist, most of the rhetoric surrounding Next Gen and My Magic Plus internally was not about the potential profit from the system. Those developing the new technology, and even much of the executive team, believed in the more altruistic benefits of the program. The ability to guarantee experiences for vacationers, to simplify the experience of visiting the resort, to improve traffic flow and crowd control at the parks, to create an IT infrastructure that can be built on over the coming decades, even to make cast members' jobs easier so they could focus more on providing great interactions with guests. These were the key components of the pitch. This is not to say that there were not some ulterior motives. Disney definitely wanted to impress with the program, to establish themselves as a major player in the tech space, but this did not create a clear path to generate income. Apart from the new digital photo pass system, which had direct monetary benefits, the revenue that the $1 billion My Magic Plus overhaul would generate was almost entirely theoretical. Maybe guests would think less about their purchases when using their X-Bands, which would then lead to more spending. Maybe the novelty of the X-Band would encourage more people to stay at Walt Disney World resorts, which would increase revenue. Maybe the data collected from everyone's X-Bands and account profiles could be leveraged in ways to increase spending. Maybe a few cast member positions could be automated with the system, which would save money. Maybe the traffic flow improvements would be so great that more guests could fit into the park. And the biggest maybe that the entire project was predicated on, maybe My Magic Plus would create such a wonderful experience for our guests that they would be more likely to